Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today we are going to make a cheese slicer. For that I found a measurement online that is 21.5 times 7.5 centimeters. That is the real size. And I'm using my 1 to 12 ruler where I just go in and find the exact measurements that I just told you, so I don't have to convert them into something else. So that's pretty neat. So I am measuring that up on my piece of paper, so this is the right size for the cheese grater. Then I had a picture here on the side of the cheese grater slicer, the cheese slicer that I wanted to do, and I am just drawing that on my piece of paper in the shape that I want it to be. I then cut out my template and I placed it on a piece of some tin foil. You can use the tin foil for a tea light or from a tin can. I advise you for the tea light, that is better. This is actually a piece from a Create a Cake packaging I have lying around, and I just took a piece of it. You can see it right here. And I'm just cutting out this little piece, and then I am carefully sanding it because it has some sharp edges and I don't want to cut myself on it. The cheese slicer I am doing here has a hole here in the in this bigger part where the cheese is gonna come up. So I'm trying to make that by cutting into this piece of tin foil, but it's not working as I want to, so I'm trying to make a nice deep indent, and then later I will give it a tiny bit of some paint. Then I use a round nose plier to kind of shape this cheese slider into the right shape. So I made a bend where I cut, and then I made a bend at the handle as well. So I'm just working with it until I'm happy. I rolled a piece of black polymer clay into kind of a thicker snake, and then I cut it open, well, only half the way, and now I'm squeezing this piece of clay around the handle on my cheese slider, and I'm working with this piece of clay until I like the handle that I have made around the little slicer here. That's really a hard word. Cheese slicer. The handle of the cheese slicer. Just keep working with it until you're happy. Now we need some cheese, so I mixed some white opaque clay with a tiny bit of yellow, and from that I am shaping the inside of my cheese. But first I want to have some orangey colored clay for the skin around the cheese, so I'm using a yellow with a tiny bit of orange for that, and I rolled that out on the second thinnest setting on my pasta machine. The second thinnest setting on my pasta machine. Oh, that's a hard one as well. Anyway, I'm shaping my cheese here, and then I am wrapping that orangey clay around the triangular shape, not the sides but the top and the bottom here of the triangular shape, and I'm making sure I have it all the way around, from the bottom around the inside and on the top as well. When I'm happy with the shape of my cheese, I am using my ball tool here to make some indent into the cheese, making some nice holes and stuff like that. And I am also going to use my needle tool to make some tinier holes here. And when I'm happy with this side, I'm actually turning it around and doing it on the other side as well. But as this cheese is going to lie flat on a cutting surface later, you actually only need to do it on one side of the cheese. For the next cheese, I am mixing some blue with some olive green, and it is around half and half. And then I have some white colored clay with a tiny bit of yellow in there that I'm going to use as well. So I'm taking a tiny bit of this greenish color, a bigger size of the white, and then I am just gonna chop it up. And I am chopping and chopping and chopping. I took my time with this chopping, and then I am going to kind of shape it a little again, maybe chop it up a tiny bit again, and then shape it a tiny bit again, until I'm really happy with how the white and the green here has mixed without actually really mixing. So I am popping it together now and kind of rolling it into a ball that I'm squeezing flat, and I didn't really squish it too good together. So I'm making these small pieces here, and I'm placing them on the side and pushing them a tiny bit so they're really having the shape that I want them to have, making sure they still look like a piece of cheese cut out of the circle. So I'm shaping them a tiny bit here. And now a tiny bit of my texture has been lost, so I'm using my needle tool here to give it some texture, especially where all the greenish color is. I am really poking the cheese right there, so it looks like it has been kind of making small cavities into the cheese. And you can even take a little more of the bluish color and place it into the cheese if you want to, and really poke it in there. And I'm doing this on all these pieces here. I'm not using all of them on the done result, but then I have them for some extra thing one day when I want to make something with cheese. Anyway, it's a very easy way to make cheese. I take my olive green clay here and I roll it into a snake. Then I am cutting tiny pieces off here because I want to make olives, and for that I am just rolling it first into a round ball, then a little oblong, and then I'm using my needle tool to poke a hole in one end of these, and that's it. I'm placing it on my ceramic vat so that it won't get any flat sides. I can't speak today, so it don't get any flat sides when I bake it. And I make a few of these, so it's very simple. I have a mold for crackers, and these crackers I made for 12 years ago. I will link in the info box below for that video, and maybe in the icon in the top of the screen, so that you can find out how I made the crackers in the first place. But this is the mold from then, so I am just filling that up and I'm baking that with the clay inside. I made a few of the crackers, as you can see. Now I am taking my black paint and a dot of water so I can soften it up a tiny bit, and I'm gonna use that on my cheese slicer here so that I can see that little indent a little bit better. And I wipe the excess of the paint off so that I mostly have it in that little crack where I want it to look like it has an opening. I want my crackers to have a little more color, so I am using a sand brown paint here, and I am just dipping it into the paint, taking off almost everything of the paint, and then I am dry brushing that rest color of the paint over the crackers, and I'm doing this on all my crackers. Now I have all the things that I want for my little cheese board. The board is a piece of wood that I cut into size, a size that I like. The good thing about a cutting board is that you can have it big or small, you can have the corners rounded, you can have them straight, so you can do whatever you want to arrange this little cheese board platter. And I am just using my tacky glue in this little glue bottle. This is a bottle I found in a creative set there that was filled with some cheap glue that I just got out of that, and then I'm putting my tacky glue in there because I think this little glue bottle is easier to handle than a normal size tacky glue bottle, so I'm using this one. Placing my olives and my small crackers, and then this is all done. I had a lot of fun with making this little cheese platter. I hope you will try it out. Please leave a like on this video, maybe leave me a comment. I am answering every comment that I get, so please let me know if you like this one or not, so I know what to make more of. Thank you for watching and happy crafting.